पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Dr. Sabyasachi Majumdar sir pursued his graduation program in zoology and master's degree with distinction in marine science. He earned doctorate degree from University of Kolkata in ecology and taxonomy of benthic or Aminifera. He is serving. He has recently retired
Yes,
from the post of PGT KV, and he has more than 30 years of teaching experience. His unique teaching learning endeavor is based on beyond book, field oriented, and hands on studies. Dr. Majumdar also continued his research activity simultaneously for the last 30 years on coastal zone of Indian Sundarban, West Bengal. Dr. Majumdar published 26 research papers in various national and international journals. He published 2 books in the field of marine ecology and fishery, recipient of President Award as National Teacher of India, Best Young Scientist Award 2000 by Central Kolkata Science and Culture Organization, recipient of C.V. Raman Award for Best Science Teacher from Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India 2012, recipient of award for Best Science Teacher in Kolkata from Indian National Science Academy, Kolkata chapter. Sir, we welcome you all in the session, and today's topic sir has chosen, that is climate change, the need of the hour. Of course, climate change is an existential threat. And the fact is, we have lost precious time in finding smart ways to do as little as possible to reduce greenhouse gas emission and to reduce the pollution. It is the biggest challenge now as a human race, and it is the time we all should stood up to it. To elaborate more on this topic, I invite Dr. Majumdar. May I welcome our Pratima Sharma ma'am in the meeting. Ma'am, are you there? Pratima ma'am, she has joined today.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here only to listen, sir. And especially here to listen is this one lecture and be there within so that I can participate further in this major agenda in our nation. Thank you so much for letting me in.
Pratima ma'am, you are from which school? I'm really,
Ma'am, I am from BBM Public School. It's in Rajapur region here in Delhi. Yes, ma'am.
okay, good point.
Right. Thank you.
Majumdar sir, please.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Sumanji, for your kind introduction. As because we in this particular webinar series, we are doing this for the last 3 years, and you being a pivotal under the stewardship of our very favorite Dr. Anil Sharma, we are doing this. And see, we as teachers, what we have seen that over the years we are bogged down in completion of the curriculum only, and that makes it difficult to go beyond the curriculum. And this type of platform and this type of these endeavors will definitely empower and enrich ourselves, especially when there are in the post-pandemic era. We have seen during the pandemic how we are caught ill-founded, lacking in various resources, lacking in collaboration and cooperative approaches. As a result, we are at the beginning of the during the pandemic in the early 2000, even up to the end of 2000, we are searching for alternatives to play a very significant role in teaching learning for quality education, as SDG 4 suggested. Gradually, we have come across those things, and that's possible because of our resilience power. So this resilience and other things are very important in the present scenario to deal with our educational perspective, because we are not only involved in teaching learning for the sake of degrees, for the sake of examination, for the sake of only doing some rote memorization. Rather, we are here to develop a community who are very vulnerable, irrespective of anyone. Everybody whom we are teaching, they are vulnerable because of this climate threat, because of these ongoing inequalities and all these. And we need to approach and address all these issues in our educational curriculum, so that in real life situation, these young people, these young learners can just manage to tackle those situations in their real life situations. Moreover, we are talking about this introduction of this machine learning. We are talking about these revolutionary changes from this chat GPT. All these are there, artificial intelligence. Moreover, we are in the realm of the fourth industrial revolution. And so teaching learning is more skill based. We are not sure about what will be our future. We are not sure about what job will be there in another 10 years. So more important is skill development. And in such cases, our schools, our administration, our education department cannot remain as a mute spectator in dealing with climate crisis. My topic today is a little different. You have written as climate change, the need of the hour. I prefer to change it a bit to climate justice, the need of the hour. Okay, no problem. Because we are learning basically. We are, as teachers, are gradually, at least for the last 5 years, even through this group, we have learned about climate change in many of the webinars. So basically, what we know, we as teachers, is very clear that there are excessive greenhouse impact, emission of greenhouse gases, that is anthropogenic emission. And this leads to what? The excessive trapping of heat, the infrared radiations, that we know all the basic things, so I'm not going in detail of that. And if there is more amount of greenhouse gases, if there is no greenhouse gases, our environment will be cool enough to sustain any type of species. So the normal greenhouse gas concentration is very much needed for the planet Earth, for our survival. But due to this anthropogenic impacts, we are we are emitting more and more. So as a result, what is happening? We are suffering in many ways. We in India, we are seeing the greatest impact in the last month of May. At least in this is the highest temperature rise in May over at least 5 decades, and we have also seen these extreme weather climate. Even in the last week, we have that Biparjoy in the Arabian Sea. In the Bay of Bengal, it's now a regular feature. Previously, in 10 years, we might encounter one such cyclone. Now we are getting 1 or 2 cyclones every year. Likewise, the aridity, the northern part where you people are there, you might have noticed that the aridity is also increasing, and the desertification is increasing. Erratic monsoon, that is also increasing. We might have seen normal monsoon. So the amount of the rainfall in 3 monsoon months may be same. Technically, we are calling monsoon is all right, but we might have noticed that 70%, 80% monsoon in 4 days, and remaining 30%, just a minute, I am moving, and the remaining 30% in 3 months. So these are all there, and these are probably because of this climate change, and we have noticed that this has tremendous impact on overall. We are talking about that El Nino this year again. We have a greater influence of El Nino, and that will fall on our agricultural system very badly. So food insecurity, increase in these vector-borne diseases, mostly malaria and dengue. Prevalence of dengue for the last few years, it's horrible. And we need to address those things in our syllabus, in our curriculum, and while transaction of curriculum, we need to have more and more classes to make skilled personnel from this our young student from this part. So life must be incorporated, and vulnerability is in every sphere. So that needs to be tackled in a befitting manner, and for that we need resilience pedagogy. That is how we can mitigate and adapt ourselves from climate change scenarios. Very, very important is this mitigation and adaptation. And for that purpose, climate justice is a very important feature. We'll be going through it. See the socioeconomic perspective of climate change, how we can tackle this, because the vulnerable people, the fringe community, the women, the girls, the people in the poor people, they are suffering more. And how can we deny? We are talking about 420 ppm of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and of this, at least 80% are the blessing of the developed countries. They have contributed to this huge development of the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. So that is, and now, so we should not be blamed, or rather we should not suffer for their development. We need technology transfer. They have the technology, they need to transfer it to us. We need financial support from them, or we the poorer countries, the third world countries, or the developing countries. We need this. And this is the main issue of geopolitics in the climate field. The developed countries are blaming us for poor agricultural practices, for methane emission, and for this unclean fuel from burning of these woods and other things, as responsible for generation of these greenhouse gases, as so as to divert the main issue of technology transfer and financial support. And as a result, despite having some agreement, the Kyoto Protocol is a complete failure. Some silver lining was there in the Paris Climate Change Accord, and moreover, still better than the Kyoto Protocol. But we need to follow this nationally determined this emission pattern, because as you all know, the need of the hour is to arrest this temperature rise within 1.5 degrees by the end of this century. But what we are going, we'll see how the business usual scenario can change the whole thing, and it will be an irreversible change if that happens. So these things need to be addressed. So today's talk, I am already in the midst of the talk. We'll be mostly concentrating on few aspects of this climate justice. Can I share now? Let's see.
Yes, sir, you can share.
Okay. Is it visible, madam?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. Now it's visible, I believe. Yes, madam?
Yes, sir.
So the climate justice, the need of the hour. This is the talk what we'll be exchanging for the next few minutes. So the most important thing, I start with the same. That's we all might salute this lady Rachel Carson for bringing us the environmental crisis into the forefront through her pivotal book, The Silent Spring, and that paves the way for the Stockholm Conference in 1972. So the issue of climate change is more a changing mind, not the changing climate. That's most important, that we need to change our attitude. That is very important. And for these, we need to incorporate things that will change the attitude of our young generation, whom we are teaching, whom we are mentoring. So that's very important. And as we all know that climate is our long-term perspective of weather. Weather is a short-term perspective where we deal with this temperature, sunlight, humidity, precipitation, rainfall, cloud, etc., over a shorter period of time. So today's weather, tomorrow's weather. But when we talk about this average of these parameters over a few years, few decades, say over 30 years, that comes under the climate. So in that case, we are a long-term phenomenon over a long period. So we are taking about the averages of the whole thing. So the main problem is the heating up of the climate of our planet Earth too quickly, and mostly because of our human approach. We are in the midst of the Anthropocene. So Anthropocene, human-induced changes are very much prevalent on Mother Earth, and there are huge habitat loss, and these habitat loss are introducing biodiversity loss. Species are lost like anything. So these are emergencies, habitat loss, and we might have noticed that this loss of habitat is bringing in the human being with a close proximity of the other group of animals, and that can lead to the prevalence of zoonotic diseases. One, we suspect coronavirus as maybe one of such zoonotic diseases. We have this HIV, AIDS, we have those other things, SARS, MARS. So proximity of of human being with nature, with the animals, because of loss of habitat, and that will lead to man-animal conflict. You might have seen that human tiger conflict, human bear conflict, human elephant conflict. These are all prevalent, is increasing like anything because of loss of habitat. And this is because of us, because of urbanization, because of expansion of civilization, and of course pollution. Mainly we are losing life for air pollution. Majority of the Indian cities are in the top of the air quality index list. Delhi, Calcutta, various. So, and also majority of the water, river are beyond the average health. So waterborne disease and air pollution related deaths are very much prevalent. So all this I'm discussing because these are all we need to deal in a holistic manner. We cannot only cry about climate, but the crisis is manifold. Crisis is multifaceted. Crisis is overall, we have to understand that. And we have only one earth habitable, so we need to tackle it in a very serious way. You see that that the impact of this is very much prevalent even in the marine field, that ocean changes are very rapid, acidification of oceans and loss of phytoplankton. The primary productivity of the ocean is declining. As a result, the number of fishes, we declared it as catch per unit effort. One boat, particular one time catch how much? That is catch per unit effort. That is declining. That is declining like anything. And also the size of the fish is also declining. These are direct impact of climate change. So we need a pedagogy which can address climate action. And learning and teaching must be to tackle the eco-anxiety and eco-grief. We know the huge impact of this disaster on human mind. We'll discuss this. This we know, we have discussed in detail that pre-industrial period, the population of the earth is less and the emission of carbon dioxide is also less. But since the population increases after 1950, this is exponential one, and that is the main cause of the crisis. You can see here up to 1950, it never crosses 300 parts per million. After that, it's only one-way flow, exponential. And now it even crosses 420 parts per million. So emission of greenhouse gases. So we need to tackle the carbon footprint. That's very important. So these are the few areas from where we are significant carbon emission is going on. See, electricity and heat, 25% of almost. That's because our electricity is mostly dependent upon coal-based electricity, thermal power plants. About 75% to 90% of electricity generated in India. In a global basis, around 60 to 75%. These are all thermal power plants, and burning of combustion of fuel, the coal-based fuel lead to huge amount of carbon dioxide. We are also emitting huge amount of greenhouse gases from agriculture in our subcontinent. Methane is generated like anything. Moreover, for agricultural subsidies, say beside the monsoon rain, other times we depend upon uh, deep water submersible pumps for water, and in that cases we need to give we have a lot of electricity, and that is from power plants. 17.9, around 18% from the industry. Various industries are emitting. 14% from transportation. That's why we need to discard all those old cars beyond 15 years, and moreover we need to rely upon public transports in the metropolises, in Indian metropolises, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Mumbai. We have a reasonably well public transport system, buses, metros, trains, even trams are operating, and that is playing a beneficial role. Besides this, we need carpooling and other things. Even we are trying in very difficult time in Delhi, you might have can recall those odd even number of ways to tackle the pollution. We have around 9.6% from other energy resources. A huge amount of around 6.7% is coming from the wastage of food, because not only food we are wasting, but the raw material that is needed for generation of food, for making of food, that also are with huge carbon footprint. And buildings, we are also, that's also contributing around 6.4%. We are nowadays talking about vertical gardens, rooftop gardens, green building. These are the things by which we can tackle this situation. But these are the scenarios where from we are getting the mostly contributing for the greenhouse gases. Now you see this for climate justice, the main point is inequity. And here you see the current emission is about 36.4 gigaton carbon dioxide, and of which, as I've told you in the beginning of my talk, the geopolitics, the 7 historical polluters, they are the main culprit. United Kingdom, United States, European Union, Russia, Japan, Australia, and Canada. They contribute about a huge amount of this emission. You can see the amount here. You can see. Okay, they are the main culprit. So, and China, after joining into the fray in the World Trade Organization, they are also contributing significantly. You can see the Chinese effort. We in India is also around a significant, because of our huge population. We are hiding this in terms of per capita emission, but as a whole, we are contributing significantly, mainly because of improper agricultural practices, and also because of a non-availability of clean fuel to majority of our household. But the silver lining is that we are improving in that clean energy gradually. So here you can see that this 34% is coming from these historical polluters, 28% from the from China, 7% from us, and around 31% from rest of the world. That is in terms of emission of greenhouse gases. Now see the inequality, that is most important. The amount of emission by one US individual is equivalent to that of 108 in the African subcontinent, Ethiopians, 9 Indians, 2 Chinese, and around 2 South Africans. So per capita emission, you can see the disparity among the various group of individual of different countries over the world. When we are talking about equity in our sustainable development goals, we cannot ignore these very important features underlying the importance of climate justice in the climate action. So that's why we are talking about the climate justice. So as I have told you, we are more interested, very much worried about this 1.5 degree centigrade. That is most important. By and if the world emits around 40.6 gigaton carbon by 2030, if it is business usual, if we don't change anything, if we go on emitting like what we are doing today, then it will be like this, around 40.6. And in that scenario, it is impossible to maintain this 1.5 degree centigrade. It will cross by 2030. On the other hand, as per Paris Agreement, there are nationally determined contributing factors for each of the nation, signatory countries. If that is persuasive, we can end up with 37.71 gigaton carbon. And that also will not help us to arrest or check it within 1.7 degree. We need to have half the whole thing, that is 18.22 gigaton carbon by 2030, if we want to stay in the main line of 1.5 degree centigrade by the end of the century. So it's we can only decide how we can reduce our carbon footprint, the amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that we generate individually or as a family, as a community level, through our activities. That we need to tackle. That is mitigation. Mitigation is a very important feature. Reduction of greenhouse gas generation. And another important thing is the adaptations. That is where resilience and all these things are coming. So carbon footprint is very important. We need to reduce this carbon footprint. We all know this. Alternate source of energy, reduce and reuse our choice, second-hand things, replace the energy generating those things, halogen lights with LEDs, reusables. Local food is very important. Local food, local things, purchasing can reduce the carbon footprint, because you will find that even before we use a mobile phone, the components that we assemble for a mobile phone has an impact on carbon footprint. So environment friendly, carbon friendly transport system, reduction of food waste, and use of air conditioners with the judicial way within 25 degrees centigrade. That is helpful. We have already discussed this. That's what I'm telling you, the impact. Because based on this impact, the climate justice is becoming more viable. So cyclones more stronger and more intense. I've talked about the Bay of Bengal cyclones. Because of the rainfall, monsoon, erratic monsoon, there may be floods in some areas, droughts in other areas. Heat waves are increasing. This is if you can really realize, in Kolkata this year, we have first time noticed that even heat can do damage for us for the whole of month of May, and this will go on. And this is how heat-related diseases and heat-related deaths are occurring. Precipitation pattern, as I've told you, maybe majority of the precipitation in 7 days and the rest in the rest of the month. Global temperature is rising. Desertification increases in our arid zone. Climate-related diseases I have mentioned is very important. Climate refugees. More and more disaster, more and more climate-related issues, and there is more and more migration of people, and that is climate refugee. This sociological impact is huge. Loss of ecosystem. I've talked about marine ecosystem, forest ecosystem, various ecosystem, and loss is very much there because of this climate change, and that can lead to degradation of ecosystem services. You are aware of ecosystem services, these visible and invisible, non-tangible benefits that we are getting, and loss of biodiversity. So all these things are very much there. You have seen the intense forest intensity and number of increase in forest fire. That is also contributing significantly to this, not only through by burning of the forest, but also by reducing the forest. We are declining the source for carbon sink. So that's most important. We need to identify the areas where maximum carbon sink is going on. Say the mangroves not only plant, but the mangrove soil is a big carbon sink, sinking carbon like anything. So those ecosystem needs to be handled carefully, need to be taken care of. So you are aware of the glacial retreat. This is again very important to incorporate SDGs in our lessons, because all these SDGs are important. See here, these are related things. We talk about climate action in number 13, SDG number 13, climate action, but that also relates to loss of biodiversity, aquatic biodiversity, marine biodiversity, 14, life on land, 15, that is terrestrial biodiversity. These are all related, impact on poverty, on hunger, good health and well-being. Very important is this gender equality, affordability of clean water and sanitation, affordability of clean energy, because it has different impact on different group of people, on poor people, on richer people, on men, on women, on children, different ways. Everybody need to have a decent work and economic growth. This 10 is most important, reduced inequalities. And responsible consumption and production on our part is equally important. And in the present scenario, the most important is the global partnership of 17 goals, what we need to address in a most befitting manner. So that's most important, what we'll be dealing with. So we need to incorporate this SDGs in our curriculum, not only for exam purpose, but really to train, to develop skills to handle with that. So with this, may I have a break of 2 minutes to discuss about to interact with?
Yes,
all
sir.
of, yes.
So you were just discussing like 17 goals, United Nations General Assembly in 2015, they have established that the second session is of the sixth goal. The sixth goal is of ensure availability and sustainable management for water and sanitation.
Yes.
We have
Clean
the next
water and
session for this
sanitation.
only, yeah.
Sure. But what we have discussed so far, it's okay with all of us?
We have faced this problem recently, Biparjoy, ocean.
Yes. Not only Biparjoy, we are Arabian Sea is lucky in that sense that they are facing less till now, but in Bay of Bengal we are getting it intensity and the occurrence, number of occurrences increasing like anything. Just a minute. Sorry, sir. Sorry. Okay, so the main part of what we have discussed so far is that it is no doubt that climate change is occurring. Number one. Number two, it is also, we have noticed that the impact of climate change because of inequitable condition is different on different sphere. Number three, geopolitical part must be overcome because they are the major culprit. And we need technology transfer and funding to deal with this. At the same time, we cannot remain as a mute spectator. We have, each one of us, to reduce our carbon footprint
Yes, sir.
and contribute to the nationally determined contribution of each country as agreed by the Paris Agreement. We have seen that if we go by business as usual, there's no chance of reaching that 1.5 degree. And so that is most important. And another important thing is that we need to be, that we have to address this in our curriculum, not merely for passing exam, but for skill development. That's very, very important, so that we can train the mindset, because it's an issue of changing of mind rather than the change itself. And for doing that, young learners must be sensitized. Young learners must be sensitized, because they will be our future leader. They are more vulnerable. So they must know what is going on and how to mitigate and adapt accordingly.
So are you sharing any slide?
No.
Then you
Just
can stop
I am
sharing.
just interacting now.
So,
After
so
now,
you can stop sharing so that.
no.
Okay.
I will be sharing.
Okay,
it.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
So I've just, in the midst, we have discussed a few.
Yes,
Just regurgitate the whole thing. Am I okay?
Yes, sir.
Is it now visible again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So climate action is very important, goal number 13. And we have seen this, climate disasters are very much there. So that needs, why we are talking about climate justice. This is because of this. See, in the out of 365 days in 2022, 314 days are with extreme weather events, and loss of damage increases like anything. See here, in between January to April 2023, this year only, 33 human lives and 0.95 million hectare of cropland has been suffered. In comparison to that of the same period in April, 86 life and 0.303 million hectares suffered. So indication is very clear. So heavy rain and floods, landslides, snowfall, thunderstorm, hailstorm, all these are on the increase significantly over the year. Rising mercury like anything. We need not have to talk about this. We know everybody by our own experience. So these are the very few things each and one of us are suffering, experiencing, but the most suffer are the fringe community, the women, the people who are not in the decision making. Those are suffering a lot. So the main thing we need to have to still in mind is 1.5 degrees centigrade to by the end of the, and these climate refugees, migrations are going on like anything. This is again very important. Food insecurity, more the impact of climate change, more the burden, and mostly to the poor. 42% of the world could not afford a healthy diet. And if there is not a healthy diet, malnutrition is very much prevalent. And who will suffer? More fringe community, more people, more poor, more women and girls will suffer. And that's where we need justice. More and more farmers are taking away their life because of agricultural crop failure, climate-related crop failure. These are very much there. These data are all from the environmental yearbook of this Center of Science Education, that is Down to Earth group. So cooking fuel, I have discussed that we are still using non-friendly fuels, but there is a little bit improvement towards using better fuel. So I'm talking about those things. Buy local. You see, 16,000 miles they are traveling different components of a smartphone before it reaches your hand. and we have a carbon footprint already there, huge carbon footprint before being used. So the sustainable development goals, there are goals, but not that all are, you can see only few of the targets within these goals, indicators are being monitored. So we need a lot of things, though. Health threat is increasing because of air pollution. I have already talked. Because of waterborne diseases, you see, out of the 764 river quality monitoring station around 28 states, we have seen that 688 stations are with huge metal pollution. Food inflation, undernourishment, I've told you. And this year when there is El Nino, this more prevalent of these things. Biodiversity loss, that is also a climate-related biodiversity loss. If you talk about Himalaya, we being enmeshed with the huge Himalayan, might Himalayan in our northern part. The orchids of the Himalayas, these are all temperature dependent and environment dependent. Optimum environment, if they are lacking, which is there, unfortunately, because of this change in climate, these are sufferer, endangered. These rhododendron, beautiful rhododendron, they are also suffering. So we need to incorporate biodiversity in our agenda also. We need to inventorize local biodiversity in our city, in our panchayat, in our village, in our school itself, campus diversity. This is very important. The signatures are very prominent. You can see 98.5 millimeter of rise since 1993. These are very much there. And we need this adaptation and mitigation, as I've told you, reduction of these climate-related issues, emission, and also to adapt ourselves, the strategies to adapt ourselves and to bounce back. So we have challenges, mostly because of this human emission and because of these inequalities. And that leads to increase in warming. And we have solutions in terms of agreements and nationally determined contributions, which is primarily based on reduced emission. And for that purpose, we need to mitigate. And at the same time, we need to adjust. That is adaptation. So that means, what is climate justice? The justice, that is the disproportionate impact of climate change on low-impact communities, low-income communities, and on gender. That is the thing. So we need to have equitable impact that we need to ensure. For that, you see, we need these 6 pillars of climate justice: just transition, social, racial, gender and environmental justice, indigenous climate action, community resilience and adaptations, natural climate solutions, and climate education and engagement. So these are the 6 pillars of ensuring climate justice. That means to overcome the disproportionate impact of climate change on human population or others. So this is very important. So just transition is that is the most important thing, to transition from fuel-based economy to regenerative, equitable, renewable energy-based economy. That is most important. That is the first pillar, that we need to shift from burning of fossil fuel into environment-friendly energy scenario. But while doing that, we need to use all sustainable land practices, and moreover, we need to have decisions. Political decisions are very important. Economic decisions, economic transformations are very important for getting the benefit of just transition. But just transition is a very important, the pivotal of this climate justice. Social, racial, environmental justice, as I've told you, more and more people who are fringe community, low income community, and these minorities, again those who are the genders, the women and girls, they are more vulnerable to this injustice of climate. So we must be a part of the solution of these things. We must address the thing in such a way that will deal with this. Indigenous climate action is again very important. Those people who are in the midst of the nature, maybe in the forest, maybe within the coastal zone, maybe within the footholds of mountains, they have huge traditional ecological knowledge. And they are steward in environmental resilience. But unfortunately, they are suffering most. They are relying on surrounding for their life and livelihood, and their whole actions are mostly environment friendly. So they are the steward. They can lead the climate action activities across the globe. So convergence of indigenous knowledge and science can pave the way for a better climate action. So this collaboration is very important to deal with climate crisis. Unfortunately, they people are the worst sufferer from this climate crisis. We'll be dealing with that. So the climate, we are suffering, we are experiencing this climate crisis regularly, and as I've told you, who are least responsible for this climate crisis are suffering the most. So the third world country people, the people from the developing country, poorer people, they are suffering most, but they are least contributor to this greenhouse emission. Okay, so the low income communities, as I've told you, have lower capacity to adapt, and because of this inequitability, they are handicapped. But we need to bounce back, and for providing them the capacity of resilience, we need social justice, economic justice, and equity, so that we should support them. And for that purpose, we need to educate our students also about this local community, about this indigenous knowledge, about their role in an environment friendly way, so that their mindset also change. As in the very beginning, in the first slide, I've shown you that it is more of a changing mind of ours. So that's most important. And the solutions must be natural. That is very important. Importance of forest, importance of regenerative agriculture, regenerative climate friendly agriculture. These are at the core of the climate solution. And we have seen that more we can give power to this indigenous community, more we can give the power, we can empower the poorer people, the women, more we can play positive role in climate solution. So that's most important. And for that, we need to have climate education and engagement. Okay, that I have at the very beginning I have talked about that. that we need to intermingle the climate crisis with our curriculum, not for passing our exam, but for tackling the real life situation even within another 10 to 20, 15 years. Many of our coastal areas, we have a maritime country with 9 states and 2 union territories where coasts are very much there, and according to IPCC report, we all are in danger of being washed away, inundation. So we need to address this in a way that climate change is deeply intertwined with a range of social, racial, and environmental issues. And social justice and equity can be the best way to have the climate action. So this must be incorporated in our syllabus, in our curriculum. We must produce climate-ready citizens, climate-ready individuals. Okay, so equity is very important. Civic involvement, community and societal involvement is very important. We need to address the existential crisis. If we cannot address this vulnerability, we cannot do justice. And for that purpose, we need a holistic approach, system approach, what we call it as. That means science and system thinking approach. These two can combine in our climate action. And that must be with an effort of decarbonization. That means reducing our carbon footprint. That is very important. And for that, we need the collaboration and partnership of all individuals, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, and religion. And we also, this is an ethical challenge. We need to tackle the ethics, the crisis ethically. I am empowered with using 10 buckets of water daily, but ethics suggests we should restrict to 2 buckets. So there lies the importance of ethical decision making. And ethics is at the core of this reduction of carbon footprint. We need to prevent the harm from climate. We need to have precautionary measure. Equity and justice is very important. Sustainable development is very much there to tackle climate crisis. Partnership and solidarity of all individuals, locally, nationally, and globally is very important. And scientific knowledge, most science and traditional knowledge together must be there in the decision making. So these are the few things we need to tackle. Now I'm going back to show you that these are the climate justice. Just a minute, I'm showing you the realities. So as you have known that this is very important. Women are vulnerable than men because majority of the poor are women, and they are facing more social, economical, and political barrier, and that restrict their adaptive feature, coping capacity to deal with climate change. And they are the group who are mostly dependent on local natural resources and livelihood. And they have unequal access to resources and decision-making processes. So these two again make them, and their limited mobility. These 3 is very important. They are unequal access to resources, inability to take part in the decision-making processes, and limited mobility, that makes disproportionate impact on them as far climate change is concerned. That's very important. Unequal access to resource, inability to take part in the decision making, reduced mobility. These are very important features. So any action we need to take, any policy we need to adopt must be gender sensitive. That is what climate justice demands, gender sensitive action. Biodiversity loss as due to climate change also have these proportionate impact because of in different people, including poorer or richer. Say for example, those people who are dependent upon traditional fisheries, those community, they are suffering most because of declining fish population. I have told in the very beginning, a few minutes back, that those who are more environment friendly, those who are those whose life and livelihood are interwoven with environment, and those who are least contributor are suffering more. Likewise, forest dwelling people are the sufferer because of deforestation. Women are not only vulnerable to climate change, but we need to remember that they are the most effective actors of agent of change. As far as mitigation and adaptation is concerned, they can contribute significantly to reduce climate change and to take adaptation strategies, because they have a strong body of knowledge, they have a strong body of indigenous knowledge, and their responsibilities in household provide them the stewards of natural household resources. So they are vulnerable in one hand, but they can be the actors of changes. So we should not ignore their role, rather involve them in policy making and implementation of policy. So the need for gender sensitive responses is very much there. For food security purpose, the four major things are food availability, food accessibility, food utilization, and food system stability. And all these are affected through climate change. El Nino is one major factor of unstable food system. Okay. On the other hand, we know that as because women are contributing about 45 to 80% in agricultural production, so any climate related crop loss have direct impact on them. So gender parity is a very important feature. And the impact of food on health is very prominent, and women and girls are more sufferer in terms of health because of climate related food crisis. So the need for gender sensitive responses in climate change is very important, and this is part of the climate justice. Another very important thing is we in Asia and South Asia and Africa, we are dependent upon biomass such as wood, agricultural crops, and when we are in climate crisis, these availability of this biomass are declining, and we have to go a long way to collect those things. And in majority of the cases, we see the girls and women are going there, even sacrificing their traditional knowledge, sacrificing their schools. So there are disproportionate impact of this biomass loss, climate-induced biomass loss, and as a result, the women and girls have less time to fulfill their domestic responsibilities, earning wages, public activities, skill development, and also they are more vulnerable to assault. All these are perpetuating the cycle of disempowerment. So, need is gender equality in policy making. As I've talked about indigenous knowledge, so about the wild ancestor of food, medicinal plant, use of these, symbiotic relationship with ecosystem, in all these things, indigenous people are the champion. At the same time, they are most vulnerable. So we need to incorporate all these things. Inclusion of indigenous communities and indigenous women in climate action is very important.
Sir, actually, we have next session.
Sure, we will be ending up.
Yes, sir.
So that's why in 1995, way back, linkage between energy professional and gender experts were established to tackle the gender-related energy issues. And even in Beijing conference, it was discussed that mainstreaming of gender perspective in all policies and programs related to climate change must be incorporated. So we need to have a gender analysis as a filter before we approve any policy or project. And also, we need to incorporate gender into planning procedure. So increased acceptance, increased enhancement of women's access to resources, increased women's involvement in personal, family, and community development. All these are helpful even under climate deficient condition. So today I deal absolutely in a different perspective of based on equality and equitability on climate justice, and we need to incorporate them in our curriculum to train them to make Greta Thunberg in our own country. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, it is rightly said. You said that amongst all the stakeholders, we should give priority and we should give free hand to indigenous local people. That is the most beneficial for the environment. To present the formal vote of thanks, may I now invite Gautam Biswas, sir, from KV Andal. Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you, madam, for giving me this opportunity to express my vote of thanks. Sir, Dr. Sabyasachi Majumdar is actually an eminent scientist as well as a teacher, and after his superannuation, he had been much more engaged in the works. He became much more energetic, what I think. And his seminar, this topic was really an eye-opener for all of us. He have very well explained that what are the injustice we have did throughout and what justice to be done and how we can transfer this information to the student so that we can save our planet. Sir, well said, sir, with well-prepared slides and your data. You have also given the 6 pillars and the ethics, what ethics we should have. And I also feel personally that ethics should be a subject that should be incorporated in school curriculum. Anyway, that is my view. Anyway, sir, thank you very much. And my
Gautam.
Dr. A.K. Sharma, sir, for sharpening the axe always and keeping such type of innovative webinars in the line in the need of the next hour. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gautam. Thank you, Majumdar ji. Thank you very much.
Yesterday, almost 60 students from different KVs have attended this yesterday's session.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaskar, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, is it visible? The screen is visible, sir?
Yes, you can see.
Yeah. So our next speaker for the day is Dr. Sudipti Arora. She is a fighter, willful lady, Assistant Director, Bilal Institute of Biotechnology, Jaipur. Also the founder of Prakrit, a center of excellence in environmental biotechnology. Did her PhD from the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Roorkee. She has also been a guest faculty in MNIT Jaipur, member of many international projects like WASH project since 2010 and Indo-European project titled Identifying Best Available Technologies for Decentralized Wastewater Treatment and Resource Recovery for India. She has authored important discoveries in environmental biology in more than 20 Science Citation Index expanded journals. She has recently been recognized as IWA Grenfell's Young Water Professional, as the only one from India, and as a delegate to attend UN Water Conference 2023, representing India at such an international platform. She has been honored with various awards, including Research Excellence Award 2020 by INSC, Green Parrot Award in 2018 for her contribution to indigenous water treatment, Best Poster Award at the IWA Conference in Kathmandu in 2014, Young Scientist Award, 8th Congress Uttarakhand State Science and Technology Congress in Dehradun in 2013. She has been facing health problems since last 2 years, but she knows how to keep her life busy to make the nature, beautiful to live. Ma'am, you are really a role model, a mentor for young generation. I invite you for the session that is ensuring water for all, gaps, challenges, opportunities, and action plans. That is the 6th goal, Sustainable Development Goal, Target 6, which is established by United Nations General Assembly in 2015. So we welcome you, ma'am. Please.
Thank you so much, Suman ma'am. It's always been an honor here, and I really feel grateful, humbled, and honored to address this lovely audience. This is like my annual ritual now to engage with all of you and speak.
So
my
we are
heart out.
thankful for the Bilal Institute, and even sir also enjoyed your session every year. So sir, in
Yes, sir. Thank
the very
you.
first session, he always asked me to, tell Sudipti ma'am or Aditi ma'am to take one session with you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, sir, this year I was around for the last 2 years. I was always focusing on waste management, sustainability. This year we thought let's do something different. So I want to speak about one of my favorite topic, and I really love speaking about it because that's a basic human right. I feel that should not be titled as goal or something, but that's something which is very basic. So I want to speak about water today, and I would like to take your permission to share my screen first.
Yes, ma'am, you can share.
Is my screen visible, ma'am? Is it visible?
No. Your photo is there.
Okay.
Screen is not visible. There's no
Okay,
confirmation.
for me, it is showing that when I'm seeing.
I don't know about others. It is not showing in my, not visible in my. Yeah, now it's coming.
Okay.
Now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll be speaking about today on SDG 6, yes, Sustainable Development Goal number 6, ensuring water for all. And I would like to cover the gaps, challenges, opportunities, and action plans for SDG 6. So yes, thank you for the lovely introduction, ma'am. I'm environmental research scientist. That's what I call myself at Dr. Bilal Institute of Biotechnology. I have done my PhD from IIT Roorkee, MTech from MNIT Jaipur, and these two institutions I'm always grateful for giving me the backbone, and they are always my strength. Still, all my mentors from these institutions supports me in all my research, and also because of one very important thing, that being a scientist, I feel that it's not only important to publish and keep everything, your thesis, your papers, your research just tightly packed in library. That is one of the job that a scientist does. But more important is that these technologies that these scientists have been working on should go into society, should go in the field, should go into rural or urban developments. So for that initiative, I've recently founded a NGO which is called Prakrit. Prakrit basically aims to serve this gap, cover this gap between what is being researched and published upon to bring it to field. That is what I feel is one of my now core purpose in life. So before that, I would just like to brief you all about what are SDGs. So Sustainable Development Goals, why these goals have been made, why these are important. So when we were progressing from the British era to the industrialization era, and to a lot of developments have been taking care, one thing that we ignored is we were progressing, we were doing very good in economy or financially or community wise, but we were ignoring some basic rights like right to live, right to good health, or right to ensure that you have a toilet at your home. So there comes a disparity. वो जो एक balance होता है वो हिल गया था. हम economically, industrially बहुत grow करते जा रहे थे, but somehow we were facing challenges in some basic rights. Like one side of the world was facing huge profits, and the other side was just not being able to feed their kids, or were very poor, or were not being able to access good health. So to make that gap fulfill, and to ensure the balance in life, these 17 goals, basically there are 16 goals, and 17th is just a way to achieve these 16 goals. 17 is the partnership, and for that this webinar and these associations really matter, that one of us cannot do everything alone. We need partnership. So 17th become the core of the goal to meet these 16 goals. So for example, if we talk about goal number 1, that there should be no poverty, we mean that nobody should be under the poverty line. Everybody should have at least minimum money to meet their own needs, or zero hunger. Nobody should sleep without food. Everybody should have good health, access to the good hospitals, access to the vaccines, access to the medicine facility. So all these goals ensure that the basic rights are not ignored. That is the main agenda of these SDGs, and United Nations have took this agenda to meet all these goals by 2030. And we are already half covered 2023. So let us see where we are right now. And one thing that I feel, and that's why if you have seen my first slide and this picture I've chosen, 6th goal in the middle and all other goals around it, because this is something which is really important. You can just think for a second that if there is no water around us, will we be able to meet goal number 2 or 3 or 4? No, because once we wake up, first thing we go and do is using toilet. And if we do not have, imagine a single day without water in the toilet, we'll not be able to go do any of the work ahead. So this itself speaks out that water, SDG 6, is something which is the most important, I feel. And now let us understand why. So as I said that जब कोविड भी आया था तो कितना इम्पोर्टेंट हो गया था, वी ऑल रिमेम्बर हाथ को धोना और सैनिटाइज करना. सो वी वर लाइक 20 सेकेंड्स हैंड वॉश होना चाहिए, बट किसी ने ये नहीं बताया कि जब हैंड वॉश 20 सेकेंड्स कर रहे हैं तो टैप भी बंद करनी है. So now that is the common sense that sometimes we ignore. We make huge targets, we make huge goals, but often neglect sometimes the basic things as important as do not use shower, just use bucket for your bathing, or do not use, you do not use the expensive body washes, and that makes a lot of lather and foam, and you keep on, instead of washing with one bucket, you tend to use 10 buckets to remove all that wash over you. So sometimes some things are really important, as washing your vegetables is important, but what do you do with the running tap that goes on and on while we are washing your vegetables or washing rice or dal? So make sure that we have a bucket at the below level, because of course washing is important for your health purpose, but using SDG 6, using water for that, you are wasting a lot of water sometimes. So there were 6 targets devoted for SDG 6, which speaks that SDG 6.1 means safe and affordable. So कभी कभी ये बहुत important है कि पानी होना चाहिए, but वो क्या इतना affordable है? I will share one experience when I visited international country. I visited US this year, and I'll speak about it in the later slides. But one thing that actually made me think about it. So हुआ क्या, so India में क्या है, whenever you visit any hotel, you know that water is luxury. आपको बेड के पास में 2 bottles मिलेंगी, आपके चाय का kettle के पास में water होगा, and then you can just call zero number at the reception and send me 5 bottles, and they will be readily available free of cost. So we often feel that water is available everywhere, and we just feel that it is affordable. But when I went to US this year in March, I was so after having 16 hours flight and 5-7 hour transitions, of almost after more than 24 hours after I reached my hotel, and it was early morning 10 a.m. The moment I entered into my hotel, there was no water, first thing. And I was like, where is the water? So I went downstairs and I was waiting for that reception guy to come and guide me that where can I have water bottle. So he said, you can buy. I said, okay. I thought maybe, okay, I'll buy it. So I went to that shop, but the shopkeeper was not available. He was supposed to come at 11. So there was no water bottle. And then he said to me that you can also access it by using the RO water facility, which is available at the lower ground floor. So I went there, but I didn't have water bottle also in my hand that time. So where can I have that water? How will I drink? I waited for 1 more hour to finally have water. And then when I purchased, it was costing me around $6-7 for just this, not even 100 ml water. And then I went again. So I kept it again for few days. But I have this tendency of having a lot of water during nights, which made me uncomfortable on the first night. And then I bought 2 more bottles to keep it at my night. So these small things indicated that water has a value, water has a cost. In India, we just don't know what is that cost because it is so cheap, but that is what we have to ensure. And that's why there are regions where people still do not have access to drinking water, one thing. The second target speaks about end open defecation. Means still so of course India has in Swachh Bharat Mission 1, abhi 2 chal raha hai, but 1 mein ye tha ki every house should have toilets, and at that time millions of toilets were built. So the target was to end open defecation. But have we thought of the second aspect of it? Now, if we have toilet, where all this sewage will go from the toilet? It is regarded as wastewater. Do we have the facility? किसी ने ये सोचा कि इस टॉयलेट तो बना लिया, पर टॉयलेट में जो पानी यूज होगा वो पानी कहाँ जाएगा? अभी भी वो स्ट्रीट्स पे जाएगा क्या? And what will happen to the hygiene and sanitation facility? So now Swachh Bharat Mission 2 launch हुआ है जिसमें sanitation की बात हुई है. So Target 3 means improve the quality of water. So अभी तक हम बात कर रहे हैं water quantity की कि भाई पानी है कि नहीं. But again पानी है. But अभी I'll share one video also with you which I posted in my Instagram last week कि पानी तो है, but वो पानी कितना साफ है. That is also important. आपको दिखने में साफ लग रहा है, transparent है, but आपको उसमें भी देखना पड़ेगा. It must have some microplastics or some hazards which are not visible by naked eye. So quality of important is the third aspect that this target speaks. Then fourth is again water use efficiency. You won't believe, जब आपके घर में पानी आ रहा है ना, तो जहां से वो पानी म्युनिसिपल वाटर सप्लाई करती है, 60% 40% of the water gets wasted in the route itself. Why? Because of improper fixtures. Leakage is one of the most ignored topic. हमारे कितनी बार मैं जाती हूँ and I see places where drop of water drop निकलता जा रहा है टैप से, हमें लगता नहीं है, but that is something very important, that is called leakage. Our taps and these pipelines sometimes get so old and damaged that they are not fixed properly. So water use की efficiency कितनी है वो बहुत important है, हम कितनी efficiently हमारा water use कर रहे हैं. Then implemented, so this fifth is very important, water resource management. You know what, I'll show you one data. India में बहुत enough rainfall है to meet our needs, frankly, है ना. अगर हम इंडिया का सारा रेन वाटर स्टोर करें ना, वाटर स्कैर्सिटी की प्रॉब्लम ही खत्म हो जाए. बट प्रॉब्लम क्या है? वाटर रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट. हमने ये नहीं देखा कि हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज क्या है. यहाँ पर सबसे ज्यादा रिवर्स है, सबसे ज्यादा ओशंस है, गंगा, यमुना, मतलब देयर आर सो मेनी रिवर दैट वी वर्शिप एज सच. बट what are we doing with when it comes to management? Are we taking care of where this water is coming, how it is coming? So all this is very important. We call it as integrated WRM, water resource management. And last, very important, what about the wildlife associated with water, aquatic life? This is a very important chain, food chain of our system, and we should always protect it. So now when we talk about these 6 objectives, as United Nations has also indicated that how will you measure ये पूरे हो रहे हैं कि नहीं. So they have given some indicators that if you have to measure 6.1, we need to know how much population is safely using drinking water services. If we want to measure 6.2, how many people are, the proportion of the people are using safely managed water facility, hand washing facility, soap hai ki nahi, water hai ki nahi. So these are some of the indicators that we need to think upon when we talk about targets and action. Now, why water is important? I've already discussed, but again, इसको मैं link करूँगी और बाकी SDGs से, because this is really important. The basic human right of water is important because water is सबसे important है, essential for our health. Water, sanitation, health and hygiene. These are 3 keywords which are linked. Water नहीं होगा तो sanitation नहीं होगा, hygiene नहीं होगा. Imagine all the ladies going to the toilet using wanting to change your menstrual pads or something, but you don't have water. We can't even imagine it. So water is something which is very basic for our health. Then it is also important for our sustainable development. When we talk about ki energy kaisa hona chahiye ya climate change ho raha hai, again water is important. It is also important for our growth, for economy, for life on land, life on below water, aquatic life. So all these SDGs are linked. Water for climate, resilience and environment. All this water that is in the sea, captured in sea, it's a salty water. This saying is very much true that water everywhere, not a drop to drink. So, but because this water is too salty to be able to used. But again, we need more innovation so that we can convert this. We need more integrated water resource management. Then water for cooperation, water for cross-sectoral cooperation, scientific cooperation, water across the 2030 agenda, transboundary relationships. So ultimately, something which is very important that UN Secretary has also indicated in the General Action Plan. We call it as a Water Action Decade. इसका मतलब ये है कि water के ऊपर बातें तो बहुत हो गई, मैं भी वही कर रही हूँ. But what about the action plans? Who is making these actions? Who is now actually implementing solution is something that we all need now. So if we just look at this graph, which I took from one of the published paper in the, sorry, I mentioned to forget about the reference, but you can see that in 2001, there was enough water, the supply was enough and demand was less. As we are progressing now towards 2023, the demand is increasing. And the supply remains same. So देखो हमें क्या लग रहा है, पानी की कमी होती जा रही है, पानी सूख रहा है. But my dear audience, पानी की सप्लाई में कोई कमी नहीं हुई. It's hardly something. But if you see the exponential curve in demand, we have over exploited our water, we have over demand ourselves. अगर आज बॉडी वॉशेस नहीं यूज करके हम पहले जमाने में बेसन रीठा और इनसे नहाते थे, बहुत कम वाटर यूज होता है. आप सिंपल वाटर सोप भी हैंड सोप भी यूज करोगे ना, इट इज मच बेटर देन यूजिंग हैंड वॉशेस, liquid and Dettol and everything that we use. They demand double the water. So it's as simple as that. So these are some of the pictures which are the reality, unfortunately, but true. Now, I also been speaking some of the initiatives because we cannot ignore that government has already been doing a lot. Sometimes we just blame government. We just don't see it, but we say we blame everything to government. We don't see what they are doing. So I've made this comprehensive chart that there are initiatives being taken by the government, Ministry of Urban Development, Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission, National Water Policy that has been laid on 2012, Steering Committee on Drinking Water Supply and Sanitation in 2002, then policies like Swachh Bharat Mission, Urban Sanitation Policy. So there are a lot of initiatives, and especially the Jal Jeevan Mission launched in 2018 now give us clear direction on how to use our water and to curb the supply demand gap. This is another performance indicators. I was reviewing the Indian scenario because I participated in the UN Water Conference this year. So I was supposed to give the scenario of Indian cities, and to my astonishingly, I found something really challenging, I would say, and also very interesting. Why? मुझे ये देखने में मिला कि जिस जगह पर वाटर की अवेलेबिलिटी हम सोचते हैं कि ना, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल राजस्थान है तो पानी की अवेलेबिलिटी यहाँ है ही नहीं, है ना, डेजर्ट स्टेट है तो यहाँ तो पानी की सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होगी. और हमारा SDG 6 परफॉर्मेंस जो है, यानी वाटर को लेकर हम कितना क्या गोल्स हैं, क्या टारगेट्स हैं, हमने कितना अचीव किया SDG 6, अगर हम उस टारगेट को देखें और परफॉर्मेंस को देखें तो वी थॉट कि जहां पानी बहुत ज्यादा अवेलेबल है वहां पर दिक्कत नहीं होगी, दे विल बी गुड परफॉर्मर्स. बट अदरवाइज हैपेंड, उल्टा हुआ. जिन स्टेट्स में पानी बहुत अबंडेंटली अवेलेबल है, वहां पर रेनफॉल बहुत अच्छी हो रही है, वहां पर ग्राउंड वाटर बहुत अच्छा अवेलेबल है, वहां पर रिवर्स है, गंगा यमुना और सरस्वती एंड ऑल दीज ओशंस एंड रिवर्स आर देयर, दे आर दी टॉप परफॉर्म, दे आर दी बॉटम परफॉर्मर्स. और टॉप परफॉर्मर्स वो स्टेट्स हैं जहां पर पानी एक्चुअली अवेलेबल लो है. As you can see, राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश, आंध्र प्रदेश, गुजरात, तेलंगाना, यहाँ वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी लो है, बट टॉप परफॉर्मर्स वो स्टेट्स हैं. यू नो व्हाट, दैट इज ऑल इन द माइंडसेट. हमें पता है कि यहाँ पानी नहीं है तो शायद हम सब जो डिमांड है हमारी कम है और हमारा SDG 6 इंडेक्स बेटर है, सो दैट वी आर यूजिंग इट जुडिशियली. बट जहां पानी बहुत ज्यादा अवेलेबल है, एक्सेप्ट गोवा, बाकी सारी चीजों में आप देखोगे तो वेस्ट बंगाल, जम्मू कश्मीर, केरला, यहाँ पंजाब, यहाँ वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा है, हरियाणा, बट दीज आर बॉटम परफॉर्मर्स. So this is very interesting observation that I could see and I wanted to share. So the key findings are that yes, greater supply of water कोई prerequisite नहीं है, demand is more important. हम सोचते हैं सप्लाई ज्यादा दो, यहाँ पर तो डेजर्ट स्टेट है. It's not about supply, it's about demand, it's about our use. All water systems are viewed as integrally linked with the hydrological cycle. तो जो hydrological cycle की अगर हम बात करते हैं, water cycle की बात करते हैं, they are all linked with the ecological system. So comprehensive assessment is very important to keep the integrity. Prioritization is very important. Water कहाँ चाहिए, कितना चाहिए, वो बहुत important है. सबसे ज्यादा water हमें चाहिए आज irrigation में. Agricultural demand is the maximum if we talk about water, and second is industrialization. But sometimes हम industries को ज्यादा दे देते हैं, agriculture को ignore करते हैं, and I'll share one case study with you on that. And next important thing is economics. Okay, let me ask one very important question regarding the economics. कि आपको क्या लगता है, water की cost होनी चाहिए? You can just write your answers in the chat box. I'll just wait for a second to have this question, because I really want to know what do you feel about the water cost. What do you feel? पानी को हम cost economy से जोड़े, because एक तरफ हम बोल रहे हैं कि water is a basic human right, तो हम उस पर एक cost नहीं लगाना चाहिए हमें. But at the same time जब इतनी demand बढ़ रही है तो cost होनी चाहिए. So what do you feel about it? You can just write yes or no in the chat boxes. I'll just stop sharing for 1 second and I'll wait, because Suman ma'am, I feel that it should always be two-way communication and people should also participate.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Manpreet ma'am is saying it should be there. Great. Let others. I request everybody to just feel. What do you feel about this? What do you think that there should, because of this exist so much demand and demand supply gap? Do you feel अगर हम एक price रखें water पे, because बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि we can't afford, we are already under the poverty line, तो price रखने से unequitable distribution भी हो सकता है. Yes, beyond a certain limit. Great. Yes, for affordable community to check water misuse. Great. Yes, sir. Great, great. So, yes, so I'll share about one of the experiences now. Okay. Then we'll discuss कि क्या होना चाहिए at the end. Okay. So I have two case studies here that I want to share with you, because I have been doing these projects in Rajasthan and at a field scale. So it's better that I should share. Just very briefly, I'll share. Yes, this is one of the project that we are working. We've got this funding from Department of Science and Technology, and the title is Transforming Andhi Village to a Zero Waste Model through Green Technology Interventions. So I'll just share a brief history about this project. ये project कैसे start हुआ? So I was teaching environmental biotechnology to my students in this second year while they are doing biotechnology here from my college. And I was telling them about the waste management and about the water management practices. So one of my students said कि मैम ये जो भी आप पढ़ा रहे हो ये तो होता ही नहीं है, ये this does not exist. And I said, how can you say that? See, this all is published in the book. He said, no ma'am, ये सब नहीं होता है, आप गलत पढ़ा रहे हो. तो I said, no, see, these are in the book. But suddenly I realized कि yes, the books that I am teaching are all international books, जो US book based books हैं. So definitely Indian systems में ये नहीं होता होगा. And he insisted me to visit his village. And this happened on 12th March 2020 when we visited this village called Andhi village, which is 50 kilometers from Jaipur, and we were shocked. We were shocked because of these photos that you can see. None of the site, none of the moment we entered the village was all full of waste and water coming out from the homes, grey water, black water, toilets water, just flowing through the open drains, and that is filled with the plastic waste. मतलब इतनी स्मेल आ रही थी कि we were not able to stand there for a second. ये सब फोटोज, सब बहुत सारी फोटोज हम खींच के आए, एंड वी वर लाइक कुछ करना पड़ेगा हमें, व्हाट टू डू. एंड देन वी दिस इज वन वीडियो आई विल आल्सो शो. So you can see that this whole grey water coming out from the home is filled with plastics, paper, menstrual pads, sleepers, clothes, whatnot. This is the case study. This is the story of not only one village but many villages. But yes, this video was captured in Andhi. And then we also saw this video. Suman ma'am, आपको volume आवाज आ रही है वीडियो में से?
No, there's no volume in the video.
Volume is not there. Okay. To check on some settings.
If you make it online, then the voice, because online में voice आ जाती है, ये यदि आपने ऐसे ही डाउनलोड किया है तो नहीं आएगी. Google Meet है ना.
नहीं, ये जनरली आ जाती है। अभी आप देखो एक बार, आ रही है इस वीडियो में? इज इट कमिंग?
No.
Okay, no problem. But okay, anyways, I'll share this
Video is
video.
off. Pause है शायद video आपका.
अब आ रहा है?
There's no volume.
Okay, no problem. It's just I want to show
Yeah.
that ये आप देख सकते हो. I'll show you this video कि इसमें ये लोग जो पानी हम अभी देख रहे थे जो ड्रेन्स पाइप से आ रहा था, people are actually using it for their field. Just you can see.
For raising the crops, they are using it.
Yes, and when I asked them that how can you do this? This is wrong. तो the lady innocently said that आप घबराइए मत, ये पानी हम ये गेहूं के फील्ड थे क्योंकि वीट के. तो she said very innocently, आप बिल्कुल चिंता मत करो मैम, ये गेहूं हम नहीं खाएंगे, ना ही हमारे गांव वाले खाएंगे, ये तो हम शहर में बेच देंगे. तो दैट वाज द माइंडसेट कि शहर में तो जैसे कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं होगी लोगों को. सो वी वर शॉक्ड कि ये मतलब डायरेक्टली ये यूज कर रहे हैं. दे फील दैट इट इज ओके टू यूज और हम कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पर पानी की इतनी कमी है राजस्थान में, तो क्या हो गया?
Scarcity of water they were using, I think. They must
Yes. But then we realized that this water is coming through the open drains with contaminated with so much solid waste already. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये सिर्फ सीवेज है और ये डायरेक्टली आ रहा है. It's coming with, and आप बिलीव नहीं कर सकते हो कि क्या क्या solid waste हमें मिला उसमें से. Then we sampled this water, then field को भी sample करा हमने, उसके wheat plants को लिया, root, shoot, soil, all the research is going on. So we divided these problems into 5 main categories. कि वाटर स्कैर्सिटी तो है ही है, इम्प्रॉपर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम भी है, अनसस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, इम्प्रॉपर सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट है, और पुअर हेल्थ, पुअर एस्थेटिक्स ऑफ द विलेज एंड लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस. ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स को डिवाइड करके हमने कुछ सॉल्यूशंस सोचे कि व्हाट शुड बी द सॉल्यूशंस, एंड देन वी wrote a project and we submitted it to DST, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. And I'm happy to share that after pursuing this project for 2 years, COVID aa gaya, then they said that abhi wait karo, funds nahi hai, all those things happened, but finally we received this project in 2022 March, and we got the funding of approximately 2 crore to make this village zero waste. The solutions we divided into 3 categories: clean water, sanitation and hygiene, clean energy and resources, मतलब waste को ही हम energy और resources में convert कर देंगे, and socio-economic development of the village, that how we can aware people about the health and well-being. So this is our team. We are a huge group of people with various NGOs, stakeholders, collaborators, पंचायत भी हमारा support कर रही है to finally execute this project, which has 6 objectives. So the first objective is to develop the digital map of a village. Remote sensing से हम देख रहे हैं कि drainage क्या है, वाटर कहाँ जा रहा है, वाटर रिसोर्सेज क्या है, एक्सेट्रा. सेकेंड इज टू डिजाइन एंड डेवलप कंस्ट्रक्टेड वेटलैंड फॉर ग्रे वेस्ट वाटर ट्रीटमेंट. ये एक नेचर बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी है जो हम उस गांव में लगा रहे हैं ताकि जितना भी वहां का पानी है, सीवेज है, वो ट्रीट हो सके कंस्ट्रक्टेड वेटलैंड के थ्रू, और उससे उस पानी से लोग सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस करें. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्योंकि राइट नाउ वहां पर सारा पानी बाहर पड़ा हुआ है सड़कों पर. थर्ड इज टू डेवलप अ वर्मी फिल्ट्रेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, जो कि मेरी पेटेंटेड टेक्नोलॉजी है, फॉर अ हॉस्पिटल वेस्ट वाटर ट्रीटमेंट, एंड दिस टेक्नोलॉजी विल बी इंटीग्रेटेड विद सोलर पावर, क्योंकि हम ये नहीं चाहते कि एक टेक्नोलॉजी लगा रहे हैं और उसके ऊपर सारी एनर्जी खर्च हो जाए. सो वी वांट टू मेक इट अ ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी, सस्टेनेबल टेक्नोलॉजी, अलग से हमें एनर्जी इनपुट नहीं देना पड़े. एंड फोर्थ ऑब्जेक्टिव इज द बायोगैस टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर वेस्ट. फिफ्थ इज इंटीग्रेटेड सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, एंड सिक्स्थ इज अवेयरिंग पीपल. I have not covered these 3 right now because हमारा टॉपिक वाटर से रिलेटेड था. So I'll just quickly show you कि कैसे ये प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट हुआ. 21 मार्च को ऑफिशियली वी विजिटेड, एंड दीज ऑल द टेक्नोलॉजीज दैट वी आर implementing there. This is digital imaging of the entire village that we use satellite image. ये आप देख सकते हो कि पानी कैसे जा रहा है, और फ्लो करके पानी हमने देखा वेटलैंड, ये सारा पानी इस पॉन्ड में जा रहा है, 3 जगह से ये पानी आ रहा है. तो हमने फाइनली डिसाइड किया कि यहाँ पर हम एक वेटलैंड टेक्नोलॉजी लगाएंगे जिससे पानी अब ट्रीट होके इसके अंदर आएगा. सो दीज यू कैन सी, ये तीनों ड्रेनेज पॉइंट्स हैं जहां पर बहुत ज्यादा सॉलिड वेस्ट एक्यूमुलेट हुआ है वहां पर, and all this pond is very much badly affected. So we have now why this pond is also important because उसके पास में एक बावड़ी है, एक मंदिर है, एक वेल है, पुराना कुआं है और एक प्लेग्राउंड बन रहा है. तो हमें लगा कि दिस इज द एप्रोप्रिएट प्लेस जहां पर अगर एक कंस्ट्रक्टेड वेटलैंड बन जाएगा जो बहुत सुंदर भी दिखता है, क्योंकि उसके ऊपर पूरा कैना इंडिका फ्लावर्स होते हैं, प्लांट्स होते हैं जो कि वाटर को भी ट्रीट कर देते हैं. तो अगेन पीपल विल connect it aesthetically also. This village will be good, improved. So now second objective is to install this constructed wetland here, which is now under construction. अभी almost बन गया and 30th June तक ये complete हो जाएगा. And this is the third objective. ये एक CHC है वहां पर जो right now अपना पूरा सीवेज बाहर सड़क पर फेंक रहा था. मतलब CHC ये complete healthcare center. Where we now have installed a vermi filter. So you can see this is a vermi filter. We have installed lot of we have made for especially for this hospital wastewater treatment. And now once this will be in use, almost होने वाला है, ये भी construct हो गया है. The final plumbing connections are being done. This whole water will now be used for maintaining the gardens, lawns, and agricultural practices. So this is something that I was talking about, implementing solutions from the lab to field. And of course, we got a lot of appreciation from CM for this project and lot of media coverage and everything. And this is my team, which we are working together. And there are other objectives also, but I have not covered it because of time constraint also. And this is second project that I wanted to share you. And this is also very important because one, this is related to water, and second, this is related to COVID-19. So you must relate, you would be relating to it. So while we were waiting for the funds to come for Andhi village in early 2020, I was just reading, being an environmental scientist, I was very curious कि क्या चल रहा है, कोविड-19 को कैसे लोग डील कर रहे हैं. तो मुझे पता चला कि एक टर्म है वेस्ट वाटर सर्विलेंस, जिसमें वेस्ट वाटर के थ्रू आप ये बता सकते हो कि कोविड-19 जैसा या कोई भी और पैथोजन प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं, और उसके थ्रू आप हॉटस्पॉट डिटेक्ट कर सकते हो. सो वी स्टार्टेड जस्ट सैम्पलिंग ऑन 4th May 2020, just sampling some of the wastewater treatment plants of Jaipur city. एंड उस समय कोई प्रोटोकॉल भी नहीं था, इसका कुछ भी नहीं था. जस्ट बाहर के रिसर्चर्स का, यानी नेदरलैंड्स, यूएस, यूके में कुछ रिसर्चेस पब्लिश हुई थी कि उनको सीवेज में कोविड मिला एंड एवरीथिंग. एंड दे वर लाइक कि वेस्ट वाटर सर्विलेंस करना चाहिए, पूरी सिटी को लॉकडाउन करने की जरूरत नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आज MNIT कैंपस में अगर मैं करूँ और MNIT कैंपस के सीवेज में मुझे मिलेगा, तो आई वुड जस्ट रिस्ट्रिक्ट दैट कैंपस टू लॉकडाउन, बट नॉट द एंटायर सिटी. और सेकेंड बात ये थी कि हम वेरिएंट्स भी पता कर सकते थे. सो वी स्टार्टेड दिस प्रोजेक्ट एंड लकीली वी मेड अ टीम, एंड आई एम हैप्पी टू अगेन शेयर दैट वी गॉट इंटरनेशनल फंडिंग from University of Nottingham to pursue this project in India. We were the first institutions to do this. And अभी आप देख सकते हो 18 जगह से हम जयपुर से कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. We got the funding firstly from University of Nottingham. Then that project ended, we got University of Wollongong, Australia. And after that, now in 2023, we got funding from DST, Delhi, SCRB from India. So now we are working in a national project. And every week we are collecting, since 3 years now, wastewater samples from entire Jaipur city, checking the COVID-19 surveillance, giving all the data to the Ministry of Health every week, live data. And now we are also part of consortium जो एक नेशनल लेवल की पॉलिसी बनाने जा रहा है इस पर, वेस्ट वाटर सर्विलेंस पे. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द अपॉर्चुनिटीज. व्हेन वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट द गैप्स, वी आल्सो शुड लुक अपॉन द अपॉर्चुनिटी, क्योंकि हर प्रॉब्लम एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है. सो दिस इज माय टीम एंड दीज आर दिस इज द फोटो. सो मेरा कोई उस समय लैब असिस्टेंट रेडी नहीं था जाने के लिए, एंड दे वर ऑल स्केयर्ड कि मैम घर वाले नहीं मान रहे. 4th May 2020 को सब इतना डरे हुए थे, कोविड को लेकर लॉकडाउन में बैठे थे. I asked my colleague Dr. Sonika, and I said my driver that you put up this PP kit and we will go. And I myself went to 7 STPs in Jaipur that time. So from that, now my entire team, we have a good team. We are working on 18 sites. These are all the samples that we are collecting, doing live data, sending. This is the methodology. Papers have been published in good journals. This you can see the graph that how we are showing कैसे परसेंटेज पॉजिटिविटी बढ़ रही है एवरी मंथ. सितंबर, अक्टूबर कैसे कब बढ़ रही है, कब कम हो रही है. आप देख सकते हो सितंबर में ज्यादा थी, पर जनवरी में कम हो गई. एंड अगेन दीज आर द वेरिएंट्स कौन कौन से वेरिएंट्स हैं, और ये जैसे कोई जैसे डेल्टा वेरिएंट आया फरवरी में लास्ट ईयर एंड बहुत सारी डेथ्स हुई, सो वी आर नाउ ऑन द ट्रैक. अभी ओमाइक्रॉन ही चल रहा है, जैसे कोई नया वेरिएंट आएगा वी विल बी द फर्स्ट वन टू नो एंड वी विल बी गिविंग दिस डेटा टू गवर्नमेंट. So these are all some of the opportunities that I got. And now, because of these two opportunities that I've been working, I'm happy to share that I got another beautiful opportunity by IWA. IWA is International Water Association, and there was this fellowship that 12 delegates will be selected across the globe to visit UN for Water Conference in New York. So I was the one from India. Other than these are my 12 friends now. We are a good water family, and I was selected and I visited UN Water Conference. This conference happened after 46 years. In 1976 it happened, and now in 2023. So we were reporting, we were in the auditoriums, attending sessions, speaking about water, and these are some of the glimpses of Water Conference. And now I don't know whether you'll be. Is this audible, ma'am? Is this audible?
No.
So I'll share with you, ma'am, this video, so you can share with others. But it's okay. But now I have to tell a very exciting opportunity for all the young students here. So as a part of this IWA Water Fellowship, we are launching one very exciting idea that if you are young, so young by young, if you are between the age of 16 to 35, eager to create an impact, have a potential idea that can help us achieve SDG 6 targets, dive in, make an impact. Unleash your potential at the Waterathon. So this is Waterathon. This is an exciting opportunity that is for all the young students, that if you have any idea that you think can save us from the water scarcity or water pollution, you can register it. So this is an initiative supported by IWA Grundfos Youth Action. And so application deadline is 30th June. We have extended it to 30th June.
We have already forwarded
Okay.
this. But
Great.
today again I'll forward.
Yes, because now we are also we have collaborated with
Also, Dr. A.K. Sharma sir also to motivate, to tell the teachers, members of the group to encourage students for taking part in this, because 30th is the date.
That is for just phase 1 submission, and phase 1 submission may we just need a title and abstract, and after that we are also have 20 more days to submit the whole idea. And once the whole idea will be selected, you will be given time to pitch your idea on Water Ideathon, which is on 5th August, where there will be funders who will be evaluating and can give you the possible funding. So that is a very great opportunity, and the entire book will be published on selected ideas and will be circulated. So this is something very important, and I'll be ma'am has already shared with you the registration link and everything. So one last thing that I want to share before I conclude is this scholarship that our institution has now provided for the young aspirant who want to pursue their career from the biology background, if not for the medical sector. This is the NEET score-based scholarship. This is now open for application. So we have of course, you know that we are an exclusive biotechnology institute. So for those who feel that their NEET score is good but do not want to pursue in the medical direct medical sector, you can be a medical biotechnology or genetics. And now you can see I am a huge fan of biotechnology, because I started my career in biotechnology itself, and you never know when the opportunity comes in the other sector, and you can grab it. So this you can share, ma'am, with your students as well.
Yes,
and yes, definitely.
Please
And
forward
thank you
it so that I can share.
I will share, and thank you so much. This is all from my side, just about something that I wanted people to be motivated and inspired. Thank you.
Anyone wants to ask anything? Yes, sir. Any member wants to ask, clarify any if you have any query about this competition also? I think, ma'am, you're your high willpower and energy that has driven you to succeed in life, and you are raising your standard year by year. So
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's just that I feel that whenever any challenge comes, just take it as an opportunity. So for me, COVID was actually a very big opportunity to work for whatever I want to work. So it's just I was trying to gather my knowledge and trying to implement it. And it's just the beginning. I really want to do more, and I need support from all of you for that.
I request sir to at this.
Actually, over the years, we are in close contact with Dr. Bilal Institute. And whenever we used to conduct a program, I always request Suman that one program should be from Bilal Institute. And every year, we are very happy that a new theme is being taken and our teachers are benefited. So whatever the competition you have given to us, it is circulated to all the schools through principals and the teachers also. I'm sure that more and more children will participate in this.
Thank you so much, sir.
So it is. We are very happy that you have given us a chance, our children, a chance to participate in such a mega competition. So thank you very much, and God bless you in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. To present a vote of thanks, may I now invite Pritika Agrawal, ma'am. Pritika, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Namaskar, ma'am. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Namaskar, everyone. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, Sudipti, ma'am. So I would, on behalf of Bharati Vidya Bhavan Vidyashram, I would like to propose a formal vote of thanks to Sudipti Arora, ma'am, for the wonderful session she has taken, such an enlightening session she has taken. And ma'am has brought us close to the reality and the facts which are we have been just studying theoretically. The importance of water, the SDG goals, and the work which she's doing is absolutely wonderful. It's a commendable work. All of us should say this. I also had an opportunity to meet her personally recently when she organized a session on this water. So I would again like to thank ma'am for the session, for the wonderful things she has shared with us, and the opportunity which she has extended. Waterathon also. Thank you again, ma'am. Thank you, sir, Sharma sir, and thank you so much, Suman ma'am, for organizing this webinar series, which is always a source of enlightenment for us. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much, Suman ma'am. Yes, Suman ma'am, we can conclude with the session.
ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। आती है आंधियाँ तो कर उनका खैर मकदम, आती है आंधियाँ तो कर उनका खैर मकदम, तूफान से ही तो लड़ने खुदा ने तुझे गढ़ा है। ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है।
Thank you so much all for attending today's webinar session. So we'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sudipti ma'am.
Thank you. It was always wonderful having you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, may we leave?